कुमार स्वामी नायक गोंगो लुगु लटोका रेडियो फीजी 2 में पुराना गाना लगे हमें बहुत अच्छा लगे।
रेडियो फीजी 2 देश की धड़कन।
In the news tonight, school enrollment numbers drop. PTSD cases surface in the north. And PRB properties vandalized.
From the studios of FBC Suva, Edwin Nadi.
Bulawanaka, Fiji. There's been a huge drop in the number of students enrolled for the new school year in TC Yasa affected areas. Education Minister Rosie Akbar says a team is still on the ground assessing damage. Akbar confirms classes will begin on the 18th of this month for teachers and a day later for students. Pranita Prakash reports.
The Category 5 cyclone, which hit the Northern Division more than 3 weeks ago, has affected student numbers.
As you know, the schools, when they get damaged, they are rated in respect of the type of and amount of damage that has actually occurred to the buildings in those schools. R1 and R2s, as we can see through Cyclone Yasa, a lot of schools fall within that particular category. In other words, some of them have damages, you know, if you look at construction costs in terms of the materials, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, with a few tin roofs may have blown away, or perhaps some damages to the windows where there's been some water leakage, etc. So these schools can be up and running fairly quickly. And
what we have found during our monitoring at ground levels, that though many schools have sustained extensive damage, you will see that classrooms have fallen down. The number of students enrolled currently last year and those anticipated to resume classes from the 18th, the numbers have drastically fallen down.
Akbar says while a number of schools have sustained damage, they hope to carry out quick fix on some schools before school starts. She says they want children to continue with their education.
We will not pressure parents and students on uniforms and footwear and stationery. All we want them is to return to schools, and of course there's a lot of assistance provided. So to the parents, please don't pressure yourself. This is the time to rebuild your homes, rebuild your lives. But we want the education of our children to continue.
The minister also received $300,000 from Vodafone Fiji to help repair about 20 schools. Vodafone Fiji says they are working with the Education Ministry to channel assistance where needed. Pranita Prakash, FBC News.
Newly installed security cameras in public rental board properties have been vandalized by tenants. PRB Acting Manager Patrick Veo says tenants have indicated they don't want the CCTV cameras. Apanisa Wangairandovo reports this is a concern for the PRB.
The PRB says the security cameras are important in safeguarding tenants, but people continue to damage them.
In fact, they have damaged some of the cameras. So the work is still pending. We want to complete Nandera first, and then we'll come to... We're looking at how can we best install the cameras, because some of the cameras that were installed were damaged, vandalized.
Veo says they are mapping out areas to install the cameras, as some tenants are clearly against the move.
We wanted CCTV cameras to be up and running, but I think for those that in the flats, some of them were reluctant to have the CCTVs.
Some tenants at the mid-road flats in Nambua told FBC News that they want the CCTV cameras to be installed, going against who disagree.
I've lived here for over 15 years, and why install the cameras now? But that still is a good move, but again, it all starts from home.
It is a good idea, but the onus is on us parents to inform our children on what is right and what is not. I've lived here for 30 years and illegal activities are only coming up now.
The PRB says vandalism is common in some PRB properties and they want to ensure the cameras are not damaged once put up. Apinisong Grandobu, FBC News.
Women and children living in communities worst hit by TC Yasa are traumatized by the Category 5 tropical cyclone. Divisional Women Interest Officer Northern Moira Vaafo says they have several reported cases of trauma, mostly in Bua. Eleanor Turangai View has more.
The reported cases of trauma are being handled by Medical Services Pacific and Empower Pacific. The two agencies have also identified some post-traumatic stress disorder cases in communities already assessed and are revisiting them.
Mostly we have spoken to women, and now that we have the child services come in, we have also identified some children who are traumatized and need some counseling.
Along with the various UN organizations and partner agencies, the ministry has visited and provided psychosocial support to all badly affected communities in Madhuata, Lakondrove, and are almost done with Mbua.
For the most hit places, the story is the same, how they have been traumatized by what had happened. Even some children have shared their story, how they were so afraid when they see roofing iron flying around and coconut trees falling on their neighborhood, neighbors' houses and all that. So that creates a lot of trauma.
As a way forward, the ministry and the UNFPA will be establishing women and children-friendly spaces to provide continued psychosocial support and counseling.
When people are traumatized or have problems, they don't speak about it until they are provided with that environment of which they can speak freely and report or share whatever they are going through.
These most affected areas will be revisited again to ensure that the affected members of the community are coping well. Eleanor Turangaivu, FBC News.
The Fiji Women's Crisis Center is hoping to address discrimination against the LGBTQI community. FWCC coordinator Shamima Ali says these Fijians face discrimination in evacuation centers during and post natural disasters. Jeshulal reports the NGO will be fighting for equal rights and acceptance.
Fiji Women's Crisis Center coordinator Shamima Ali says the organization has been supporting the LGBTQI group over the years.
We have, from the time we started in 1984, because there was no other counseling service and things like that, people just came to us. The children started coming to us. So lesbian and gay men started coming to us also when there was harassment, when they had been raped and so on. So we've always supported them.
She says people need to understand that the LGBTQI group are normal people and should not be discriminated against.
Times, especially what we have found in the past, is that they are the last to get any help because people don't accept them as normal human beings kind of thing. So they often get to be the last. There's so much discrimination.
Fiji Human Rights and Anti-Discrimination Director Ashwin Raj says everyone should be treated equally.
Sexual pluralism, right, and the right to uphold that identity is actually enjoyed without systemic discrimination at home, in the public sphere, to be able to enjoy the right to education, the right to medical treatment without stigmatization, the right to access to justice, the right to gainful employment.
The Fiji Human Rights and Anti-Discrimination Commission is urging every individual to step up and raise their concerns against any form of discrimination in society. Jeshu Lal, FBC News.
Military engineers have started repairing schools affected by TC Yasa. 32 schools have been identified by the Ministry of Education as badly affected and in need of repair before school starts in 2 weeks. Eleanor Turangaivu has more.
Wasting no time, Republic of Fiji Military Forces engineers get right into school repairs yesterday after all schools used as evacuation centers were cleared late Sunday evening.
We are doing fast fix on these schools, cleaning up with the community and also the management of the school.
Authorities in the Northern Division are now racing against time to conduct urgent and necessary repairs to the 32 schools identified as badly affected by TC Yasa so they can open 4 classes on time.
Those that we can do fast fix, we will do fast fix. We have got also some tents that can be erected around the school compound so that we can have some makeshift classrooms for our students before we bring in permanent structures.
One of the 32 schools is Lekutu District School in Bua. It suffered extensive damage. Classrooms are without roofs, school resources ruined, furniture broken, and the dorms and dining hall destroyed.
We are seeking assistance from our local district education officers. They have noted everything according to our report, and we are looking forward for assistance, and donors will be coming before the school starts.
The RMF engineers carrying out the quick repairs will be joined by their Australian Defence Forces counterparts, considering they test negative for COVID-19 on January 8. Eleanor Turangeview, FBC News.
Up ahead, AMA reaches out to non-contracted farmers and more than 16,000 Fijians assisted by the Red Cross.
Baik tu dia Nadi merah tahu, Radio Fiji बहुत Radio Fiji रोज सुनता हूँ.
रेडियो फीजी 2 देश की धड़कन.
Welcome back. In an effort to assist farmers in Vanuatu, the Agro Marketing Authority has made an exception to purchase from non-contracted growers. Chief Executive Alvin Sharma says they have over 200 listed farmers, with the majority in Bua and Wainikoro, which were in the direct path of TC Yasa. Kelly Vadala reports this will also allow the AMA to remain operational.
The purchasing of fresh produce and cash crops from any farmer in Vanuatu is beneficial for both parties.
We wish to buy, for example, cassava and dalo from nearly everyone, whoever has it right now. We have put advertisements out, we have sent our teams out. They have done a marvelous job right now in buying cassava and dalo from the northern teams.
AMA says their teams have been on the ground ensuring affected farmers have a market to sell.
The buying team have worked throughout the entire Christmas and New Year's holidays, which is a big achievement on part of them. And we at AMA, the management, we are really appreciative of the efforts of our northern team because they are very concerned about the farming groups right now.
The Agriculture Ministry says many farmers would be in a difficult financial position after the cyclone.
Take off crops which would otherwise not be of no use, and also to support farmers who have been affected with some sort of income.
The AMA will sign more farmers in the next 2 months with hope of increasing our export market. Kelly Vadala, FBC News.
The unavailability of bitumen could further delay the repair of potholes, which the Fiji Roads Authority admits are some of the worst in recent times. The FRA says the best solution is to tear off and rehabilitate parts of damaged roads, but in the interim, they will continue to repair potholes. $3.5 million has been spent on potholes along 36 kilometers of road around Suva before Christmas. Acting Chief Executive Kamal Prasad says pothole repairs will commence once raw materials become available.
What happened is we had run out of bitumen and the supply didn't have any more bitumen, so we had to stop until this Christmas break now, and we still don't have bitumen at the moment, and it arrives on 12th of this month when we can restart our rehabilitation works, reconstruction works for this pothole.
The Fiji Red Cross Society has assisted more than 16,000 Fijians in TC Yasa affected areas. The society will soon begin phase 2, focusing on those who missed on the initial distribution of relief packs. Dipesh Kumar reports.
The Fiji Red Cross currently have over 80 volunteers on the ground assisting those in need of help.
We're going to do another sweep. Starting for the next 2 weeks, just to go all through the areas and just to find out where we've missed, and families that we may have missed. And we're thankful for things like Facebook, because people are contacting us through Facebook.
With people receiving help from the Fiji Red Cross Society, many believe that it is a good initiative.
As I have seen, people are suffering a lot, so Red Cross is there to help them. And like TC Yasa, we have seen how it has affected Lambasa people in the Northern Division, how the people are affected there. And Red Cross is doing a lot of good work. They are putting their initiative, and people are helping Red Cross to just collect all the belongings, all the things, so that they can go and distribute.
It's a really good initiative, as a lot of people were affected by TC Yasa. And in a way, they're helping people out there.
Phase 1 of the assistance included items such as tarpaulins, shelter toolkits, kitchen sets, mosquito nets, and other basic items. Dipesh Kumar, FBC News.
Being badly affected by COVID-19 has not stopped Nadi businesses from helping Fijians affected by TC Yasa. Namaka-based business Farm Boy has teamed up with Hare Krishna Movement and the Sikh Sangat to assist families who still need assistance. Felipe Naikaso has more.
The assistance that will be provided by this group is aimed at families in Vanulevu that may still need help.
Basically covering Matwata and Bua area, badly affected by cyclone. We will be giving cooked food, and the Khalsa group is funding the raw vegetables and hardware.
Donations have been in cash and kind from members in Nadi and Lotoka, and they're aiming to get it to the north as soon as possible.
The Food for Life program, we will be doing free hot lunch and hot dinner every day, and estimating about 6,000 plates per day.
Even we are taking cash, so asking to people what they need. No? If they need like anything, what they need, same time we can buy and give to him.
The Sikh Sangat through the Khalsa Aid will be heavily involved also on the ground as they look to assist any family that is still in need. The first batch of assistance was also sent yesterday morning. Felipe Naikaso, FBC News.
And now to tonight's business with Whitney.
Thanks, Edwin. Coming up in business tonight, cane growers' loan interest rate reduced. And in growing Fiji, new brewery to be set up. Stay with us.
कुमार साहब नायक है गोंगो लुगु लटोका रेडियो फीजी 2 में पुराना गाना लगे हमें बहुत अच्छा लगे
रेडियो फीजी 2 देश की धड़कन.
The Sugarcane Growers Fund Board has reduced the interest rate for loan packages from 6 to 4% for this year alone. SCGF Board Chief Executive Raj Sharma says they've also approved a revised schedule of fees and charges effective from the beginning of this month. However, the fees and charges have been deferred for 6 months for northern cane growers. Sharma says 265 loan applications valued at $239,000 were approved as of yesterday. World stock markets hit record highs on Monday, the first trading day of the new year, as investors hoped the rollout of vaccines would ultimately lift a global economy decimated by the COVID-19 pandemic. We now join Sanifa from HFC Bank with the latest from the money market.
Bulavinaka, Australian job advertisements jumped to an 18-month peak in December, recovering from steep losses during the pandemic lockdown and creating hope of a continued rebound of employment in coming months. Today's figures showed total job ads grew 9.2%. At more than 159,000, ads were 5% higher than in December 2019, a spectacular comeback given coronavirus lockdowns in April had tipped the economy into its first recession in 3 decades. The US dollar found support with the news of vaccines and other developments surrounding the coronavirus pandemic weighing on investment sentiment. Meanwhile, the British pound was under pressure as Prime Minister Boris Johnson ordered a nationwide lockdown to try and slow a new fast-spreading coronavirus variant. In Japan, the safe haven yen was little changed as the Prime Minister said the government is considering a state of emergency for Tokyo amid a surge in coronavirus cases. That's all for now from HFC Bank, Vinaka.
Here are the local exchange rates as set early this morning as the foreign exchange market stuck to pick up pace due to the word of vaccines for the pandemic. The Fiji dollar showed strength against our 2 major trading partners, the Aussie and Kiwi dollars. It lost ground against the Chinese yuan, US greenback, PNG kina, euro and the yen. Prices were mixed on the commodities market. Oil prices dropped to just below $48 a barrel. Gold rose closing at $1,937 an ounce. And silver closed up a few cents at $27.09 an ounce. Hari Punja & Sons will be setting a new brewery in the country, a joint venture with Taula Beverages Co. Limited of Samoa. Chair Hari Punja says the brewery will employ a highly qualified team with European training as well as the latest German technology to produce top quality products in accordance with the industry's manufacturing standards. Punja says they will service the Fijian market and simultaneously support other Pacific Island countries. The new facility will be established on a 6-acre property in Suva, housing the brewery, state-of-the-art logistical facilities and an office building. Punja adds that the company intends to brew a variety of beers suitable to meet customer preferences. And that's it from Business Tonight. We now join Jamie with the latest in sports.
Thank you, Whitney, and good evening. Ahead in sports, young flying Fijian reveals inspiration. And Silktails start Ron Massey Cup preparations. This and more coming up.
कुमार सर नायक है गोंगवा लुबू लटोका रेडियो फीजी 2 में
Young flying Fijian lock Temo Mayanabanua's career has grown in leaps and bounds over the last few years. The former national age grade captain was part of the Flying Fijians Autumn Nations Cup match against Georgia, following which he was called up by French top 14 side Lyon. Speaking exclusively to FBC Sports from France, the 23-year-old reveals what's gotten him this far and the inspiration behind his success. Aquila Dama with the story.
Losing his mom, who single-handedly raised him, was quite tough, but rugby was something Mayanabanua resorted to, and he was inspired by a family member who was part of this historical achievement in Rio 4 years ago.
The biggest inspiration was all my uncles, they inspired me, and growing up they helped me a lot. And one of them who actually made the national scene was Oseku Nisau, and someone that had really inspired me to, to keep on driving, keep on moving forward,
His parents broke up when he was in year 4, but to see that someone from his own household made it to the national side gave the former Fiji under-20 captain some hope.
One thing good about rugby is that you determine your own destiny. So in a few years' time, it's myself who's going to determine that, and I would want to play for Fiji in the next World Cup, and I want to keep on representing Fiji until I retire. So that's the plan in my head, and what's left now is for me to do that hard work.
The FRU is excited that young players like Mayanabanua are starting to make their mark on the world stage.
It's an exciting year for the Flying Fijians. As you will know, we have a very young team. And as we build 2023, we are excited about the opportunities that will come our way.
Mayanabanua featured for Northland last year in New Zealand's ITM Cup. Aquila Dama, FBC Sports.
Pre-season training for the Kaibiti Silktails has begun ahead of the Ron Massey Cup competition in Australia. The side has unfinished business in the tournament after their debut last year was short-lived due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Felipe Naikaso caught up with the Silktails in Lautoka.
It's the team's first training session for this year's Ron Massey Cup as they aim to continue where they left off from last year, winning their debut game 40-16 over the Wolves.
Yeah, well, it's going to be real similar to what we did during the year with ADP. I think that's been the beauty of it. These boys come into pre-season, like the drills that we do and what's expected of them won't be new to them because we've laid the foundations during the season.
The next 8 weeks for the Silktails will be crucial, especially with the side leaving for Australia later this month in preparation for the competition.
We are all selected here for a purpose, and that is to represent the Kaibiti Silktails team. And if it is for us to be overseas to play the competition, we will do it.
Well, the coach has given his thumbs ups for the first session of 2021. they will need to up the ante in the next few weeks.
We're doing a quarantine at Runaway Bay on the Gold Coast. It's a sporting complex over there, so that's been probably a blessing for us. Where if you're normally going over in quarantine in Australia, you'd be stuck in a hotel room for 2 weeks. So it's good for us that we won't lose any time on the training paddock.
The Kaibiti Silktails will leave the country on the 25th of this month. Philippe Naikaso, FBC Sports.
The Basketball Fiji Under-14 Academy is looking forward to their first big outing tomorrow in the Camp Pacific Fiji Secondary Schools Basketball Championship. The tournament will feature 27 teams, with the academy being one to look out for in the junior category. Venina Rakautonga reports.
Handpicked by the Federation for further basketball skills enhancement, this young team is going for exposure in the next 4 days.
It's a huge leap in terms of development, because as I mentioned, they play only within, so this gives now them the opportunity to play against other kids who they've never faced, probably bigger kids in fact, because under 15 we've had some scrimmages, so they're probably, some of them are twice the size, but yeah, so this is going to be a really great litmus test for the boys.
Lee says the players had sacrificed most of their holiday time to train and will be showcasing what they have learned on the court tomorrow.
Fans should come and see or support these teams because they are much younger, but I would say that the basics or the fundamentals of basketball is really instilled in them. So whilst we know it's going to be tough, we'd like people to come and support this young academy team.
Chief Operating Officer Laipua Mao says more exposure is needed for grassroots level.
We hope to expand on our Bull Hoops program, but for now we are quite focused on providing an opportunity for secondary school students who are on school holidays.
The basketball championship will begin tomorrow at the Yetsen Secondary School Hall and the Vodafone Arena in Suva. Vedina Rakautonga, FBC Sports.
It's official. Kamal Swami has been appointed bar football head coach. Swami takes over from Ranil Kumar, who stepped down to focus on his new career path with the Fiji Police Force. The Nadi school teacher will be assisted by former bar reps Malakai Kainihewe and Daniel Krishnil. Swami started his coaching career in 1992 and has since coached the Suva, Rewa, Tavua, Lautoka and Nadi district teams. He held his first training session with the Men in Black this afternoon in Ba. They're one of the worst franchises in all of sport, American football's Cleveland Browns. But for the first time in 18 long years, the bad news, Browns are through to the season-ending playoffs. That's it from Sports Tonight. In the new media after the break, check out the increasingly popular Snoper Atom 2 phone gimbal. There's some more coming up.
मैं तो दिल्ली में रहता हूँ और रेडियो फीजी बहुत रेडियो फीजी रोज सुनता हूँ
रेडियो फीजी 2 देश की धड़कन.
It was generally a fine day over most of Fiji. In the west, morning cloudiness gave way to a sunny afternoon. Eastwards, from Pacific Harbour to Suva, some very light morning showers turned to mostly cloudy skies and occasional rain. And up north, scattered showers with some sunny breaks. At sea, northwest winds at 10 to 15 knots and moderate to rough seas. Turning to the tides, the next high tide is at 22 minutes after midnight, followed by low tide at 6:44 tomorrow morning. Sunrise is at 6:36. Tomorrow may see heavy showers in the west and north as a low pressure trough drifts across the group. Looking ahead to Thursday, showers and a chance of thunderstorms. In Fijian Pulse, we asked, what do you think about the outpouring TCIASA assistance provided to Fijians?
Oh, it's very good, and when you are in need and in trouble, you will have to accept all the helps that come from abroad.
I think that it is very good that the countries from overseas are giving us assistance at this time of struggle.
It is very good that overseas counterparts are helping those fathers down at Lambasa. It's time to help those who are very bad at Lambasa.
I think overseas countries helping us this time, it's good.
And recapping our main stories, enrollment numbers drop, PTSD cases surface in the north, and PRB properties vandalized. For these stories and others, you can tune in daily to our sister radio station, Gold FM. To our poll question, this week we are asking, do you think the extension of the Rent Freeze Act is in everyone's best interest? Visit our FBC News website to answer. And on to our shot of the day, a beautiful shot of the Matatawala Levu village in Yasawa, just as the sun sets on the horizon. The picture was taken by Rudy Vacamino. You can send us newsworthy pictures and videos on email fbcnews@fbc.com.fj or share it with us via our various social media accounts, including Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. That is your news for this evening. Until tomorrow, from everyone at FBC News, Modemanda, stay safe.
कुमार साहब नायक है गोमगो लुगु लटो का रेडियो फीजी 2 में पुराना गाना लगे हमें बहुत अच्छा लगे।
रेडियो फीजी 2 देश की धड़कन।